Welcome again to this video clip series that I'm calling My Journey to God in a Very Secularized World. You know, speaking about, again, continuing this in this period of great confusion and difficulty to find our way in this confusion and the devil's offering all kinds of traps and everything else. I would like to read this message from Our Lady that she gave in February 9th, 1985. She tells us, of course, with to Gobi, Joseph Gobi. She tells us, darkness with a thick, cold fog has entered the church, obscuring it in the splendor of its truth. For this reason, every day my word is forming you to the spirit of wisdom, that you may always see in the light the truth which my Son has taught you, and proclaim it with courage to all in its integrity. The time has now come when only the little children, consecrated to Immaculate Heart and entrusted completely to their Heavenly Mother, will have the gift of keeping themselves intact in the faith and of bringing bringing to the true faith the souls entrusted to them. That's a pretty strong statement. We're really in a big, she says, a thick, cold fog. We don't see ahead. And this is exactly why Satan, like I mentioned in the last video clip, offers a seemingly unlimited amount of false revelations, which will rise from hell like a swarm of flies. Also in this period, there will be a just punishment for our great disobedience and rebellion against God and against His holy laws, in particular in the last 50 or 60 years, to the teaching of the church, especially those regarding sexual morality. In this period of darkness, as Our Lady calls, with a thick, cold fog, which has entered the church, obscuring it in the splendor of its truth, we need the guidance of our Heavenly Mother. But there are many false seers today. In the Blue Book, the messages of Our Lady through Joseph Gobi, she says, for example, here, December 1, 1985, she says, "Today many are the false prophets who are spreading lying messages in order to cast many of my children into anguish and fear." And in another message, June 19th, 1993, she says, "Satan has sought in many ways to destroy it." She's talking about the movement, Marian movement of priests, by stirring up opposition and criticisms against it, persecutions and obstacles, subtle snares on the part of false visionaries and false messages, which have succeeded in misleading a great number of my poor children. Another message in March 22, 1995, she says, "Do not let yourself become distracted or enticed along other roads, because today many are those who are spreading false messages and untrue visions." And again, September 8, 1977, she says, "Travel this road with me. I am leading you along it, that at the moment of greatest darkness you may find there my light. Do not let yourself be drawn aside by vain curiosity. Do not look for other confirmations." I would like to repeat here again, in case you missed it on another video clip, the prophecy of St. Francis. This is not all of it, but you can find it on my website, the full the prophecy of St. Francis, which he gave shortly before he died. St. Francis said, "The power of the demons will be greater than usual. The immaculate purity of our religious community and of others will wither to the point that very few Christians will want to obey the true sovereign pontiff and the Roman Church with a sincere heart and perfect charity. At the decisive moment of this crisis, a personage not canonically elected raised to the pontificate will endeavor to administer shrewdly to many the mortal poison of his error. Some preachers will keep silent about the truth, and denying the truth, they will trample upon the truth. The sanctity of life will be held in derision by those who only profess it outwardly, and for this reason our Lord Jesus Christ will send them not a worthy pastor, but a destroyer. Yeah, I really, like I had mentioned before, in particular, you could see it in the last 50 years. In fact, in particular, after Pope John Paul II published Humanae Vitae, everybody wanted a Christianity without the cross. They wanted to have matrimony without kids, so I could just enjoy pleasure, and so there's an incredible rebellion against the teachings of the church on this, and so in the end, our punishment is to have a false pope that says do whatever you want. They say you don't have to live the Ten Commandments. Have at it. That's our greatest punishment, because God gave us the Ten Commandments for our good, not for our bad. If we don't live the Ten Commandments, it's going to be our own destruction. So thus to conclude, or to talk in my article here, even though we have been deprived of the guidance of the Vicar of Christ, the Pope, in this period, if we follow only our human opinions and judgments regarding private revelations, we could easily be deceived, including myself. Thus, not only prayer is very needed, but also in-depth study of the discernment regarding private revelations. One of the fundamental criteria of this discernment, which can be found in the article Private Revelation that I published, is humility and obedience. We find in the classic book of our times, True Devotion to Mary, by St. Louis Marie de Montfort, that Mary, in this period of the Great Tribulation, is forming an army of the truly humble, while Satan takes the rest. Those who are not seeking the truth outside of their own heads or of their group, and are not willing to dialogue with those of goodwill who are not in agreement with themselves. There's no humility. They will truly, really be deceived. In other words, it's not enough that a private revelation offers some prophecies that have come true, because also Satan knows well his own plans in this period when Satan has tremendous powers to deceive, especially in the last 3.5 years of this period, when there will be no longer the Eucharist in all the public churches of the world. The angel of light, Satan, John 8:44, offers seemingly good things in prophecies and 95% of the truth, so as to insinuate that all is orthodox and okay, while inserting and promoting in a camouflaged very grave errors in doctrine, which will cause great damage, as does a few drops of poison in a nice glass of wine. We're living in a world more full of falsehoods than ever before. Beautiful, deadly lies from the father of lies, presented as if they were the truth. Hidden, destructive deceptions, such as the devil, hell, and sin, no longer exist. The great majority of pastors today are all dumb dogs. They cannot bark. This is a quote from Isaiah 56:10. And thus do not warn the sheep of the very sly wolf, Satan, and his very numerous collaborators. These poor pastors who seek to please men instead of God offer misguided compassion and half-truths, which are worse than lies, especially to speak only about mercy without, as Jesus also added, go and sin no more. Our Lady continually asks us to pray for priests and bishops. In the Amoris Laetitia and in the 2 preceding synods, there was no mention or concern of the great harm done to children of separated parents, personal responsibility, but only the desires of the adults. I'll finish this video clip here. May God bless you and Mary guide you.